So our first step is always to plug in, see what happens. So I plug in my 6, I get 3 times 6 minus 18 over 2 times 6 minus 12, and it looks like we got a 0 over 0 situation. So when we have that 0 over 0, we know that we're trying to cancel out the whole, and we do that by factoring and canceling and then plugging in. And again, there's no big surprise as to what we're supposed to cancel out, because if x is going to 6, that is going to indicate that we want to cancel an x minus 6. Now, when you look at trying to factor, it's like, how am I going to factor this 3x minus 18? There's not too much there to factor. But remember, the first question that we always ask ourselves when we factor, before we start thinking about first times the last and difference of two squares and all these other different factoring methods, is we ask, is there a GCF? And when you look at a greatest common factor, you see that in this numerator, 3 and 18, of course, share 3. So we can factor that GCF of 3 out and get x minus 6. Now, in the denominator, when you look at is there a GCF, 2 and 12 share a common factor of 2. So we can factor that out as a GCF and get x minus 6 in the denominator times 2. Now, we still have the limit because we still have x. So this will be the limit as x goes to 6 of this factored fraction. Now, fortunately, when we factored, we saw exactly what we wanted. The x minus 6 cancel or cross out and give us a 1. So we are looking at the limit as x goes to 6 of 3/2. Now, usually what we say is, okay, we're going to plug in x. But when you look at what you're taking the limit of, there's no x around there to plug in. So that is just the limit of a constant. And so because there is nothing to plug in, we just say that our limit is equal to 3/2.